All right, so week 5. My main focus this week was creating an object that would block the player's progression into the next zone of the game. This is because currently, as I envision it, the main gameplay loop of the game has the player going to a zone, defeating the enemies in that zone to get to the different bosses there, and then incrementally unlocking the path to the next zone by defeating those bosses. So I need an object that would represent the corruption of the zone and also block the player's path moving onwards to the next zone. So to that end, I thought, okay, what if every zone has like a sort of almost like deity, right? A really big creature or version of the creatures there with almost like a halo thing above it. And what if the spiders had trapped that object in some sort of spider cage? So for that, I created what I like to call the Legs of Doom. Basically, they're a giant cage of spider legs that's like twitchy and unpleasant to look at, and they're designed to hold these giant statues captive for the player to free them and unlock the pathway to travel. Once the statue's freed, I'm gonna need to go in and add an animation for the statue, like, I don't know, doing something deity like maybe I'll have it throw sparkly particles or something and disappear. But basically, once the statues are freed, it'll get out of the player's way and unlock the path for them. I'm not sure how I feel about the solution yet. I almost want to have a more gamey approach to it, right? So maybe the way to get to the next zones is not necessarily the same in every zone, but killing the bosses would still benefit them somehow or allow you to do something for them. It's alright with the main gameplay loop currently. I think I might iterate upon that general game design feature in the future to see if I fiddle around to see what things I like. But for now, I think the solution works okay. On the spider legs themselves, or the Legs of Doom, have to be said with the accent, they have 3 different states currently for the 3 main bosses of the bunny zone, and I think I might go in and add more states depending on how many bosses future zones have. I think I'm mainly going to aim for 3 for each zone, maybe 4 in the last zone, we'll see. But they have a main state, a decrease state, and then obviously the last state where there's just nothing because you've defeated every boss. And then I had to go in and add an animation between each of those states, and I'm particularly happy with the last animation where the cage sort of unfurls itself, because I managed to get a 3D look almost. At least I think it's a little bit of a 3D look with these 2-dimensional triangles on the screen. I'm really happy with it. Other than those animations, I needed a way for the player to associate defeating bosses with the different states of this cage changing, right? That way, as soon as the player defeats a boss, they're going to realize, oh, this is changing, this is a good thing. I'm probably going to be able to go that way when all of the bosses have been defeated. So I thought, okay, what if I added because again, we're thinking sort of almost on the storyline. The spiders are corrupting the deity of the zone or holding it captive to corrupt the zone. So what if they've stolen some energy from it somehow, right? And that energy is in the different bosses. So to represent that, I made like a little sparkly particle thing that's going to spawn every time you kill a boss and just fly off the screen. Then when you get back to the zone that has this statue object in it, it will play that sparkly particle effect and have it go towards the statue. At which point it'll direct the camera towards the statue, and the statue will play its little defurling animation. This feature kicked me in the butt, not gonna lie. It's one of those things that it looks really simple, and realistically it is really simple, but once in a while you just go up against it, and I just hit a brick wall in my design with this feature. I don't know if that's due to the time crunch I put myself through to get some of this stuff out, or just general lack of preparation when making it. But it took a long time to get all the bugs and everything worked out, and there's still bugs in it that I'm going to have to work out next week. Moral of the story is, if it looks simple, it probably is, but you're going to make it not. So next week, my primary focus is probably going to be getting the bugs of that feature worked out and making all of the spaghetti code clean, because I need to go through and I need to clean it with a clean comb and get it all working properly as it's supposed to. Other than that, again, the design features, I don't know if I want to keep this spider cage. For starters, the collision on it right now is not large enough to block the player from moving on to the next zone, which, undermines its whole point. And if I were to make it large enough, the statue that's inside it would get really, really big, right? And it would actually be too large for the player to see all of it with that collision there, so it would kind of undermine the whole point of it. So I'm thinking of maybe going in and adding almost like bramble-like spider legs going outwards horizontally from the bottom of the cage, and those would block the player's path in addition to the main cage. After those going in, I really want to start working on the statue enemies. I wanted to do it this week, but again, I had pretty... Actually, I don't think I told you yet. I had a pretty bad time crunch this week because of college classes kicking up. But that's all right. Next week, hopefully, things will be a little bit lighter and I'll be able to get more work done. Yeah, until then.